Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Extra Innings. We appreciate you hanging out as we talk a little Braves baseball today. We've got opening day coming up March 30th as the Braves open up on the road again, this time in Washington, D.C. So 2 weeks remaining in spring training, and these final 10 to 15 games are going to be huge for the players that are trying to make the Major League roster that are sitting on the bubble right now. So these final 10 to 15 games can make or break you when you're trying to make the team. Otherwise, you're going to be banished back down to Triple-A Gwinnett, which as a professional baseball player, let's see, the show or Triple-A? Yeah. All these guys want to make the show, obviously. The position players on the bubble face a really unique challenge in that these last 2 weeks, the rosters have been whittled down for all these teams. The Braves will be playing the final 2 weeks in spring training. So all those minor league pitchers you may have been padding your stats against are gone back to minor league camp. So now you're facing legitimate major league pitching in these final 2 weeks. So you're going to have to earn the spot. Look, these managers and general managers are going to be paying close attention to these players in these final 2 weeks, these position players, to see if they continue to hit the ball and make them earn a spot on this roster. A little tougher to hit the major league caliber pitching than it is these minor league pitchers you see earlier in spring training. So let's start at shortstop, all right? We got Vaughn Grissom trying to win a job and replace Dansby Swanson as the Braves shortstop, and there's been a lot of focus on this during the offseason for good reason. Dansby, one of the most popular Braves players, coming off a couple of really impressive seasons, both swinging the bat and playing great defense. Now, Dansby couldn't come to an agreement with the Braves and has signed that big money contract with the Chicago Cubs, which opened up this opportunity for Vaughn Grissom that we got to see a little bit last season when Albies went down. Grissom comes up. He plays second base. Only got to see him at shortstop one game. But he was swinging the bat, hitting major league pitching, handled his business out in the field at second base, which led many people, including myself, to believe that, well, we're going to see Vaughn Grissom earn the shortstop job down in spring training. But Braden Shoemake, who was drafted 3 years ago, I believe, by the Braves out of Texas A&M, has come in and had a really impressive spring and has turned some heads down there in the Braves camp. He's just better defensively than Vaughn Grissom. And, you know, talking with sources, talking with people that I know and trust that have been watching every one of these practices and spring training games say that it stands out the fact that Shoemake is making all the plays defensively, where the range for Grissom is a little bit limited. It's not that Grissom has had a bad spring. He's had a good spring. But the fact of the matter is Shoemake has really gone out and played at a high level. The knock on Shoemake has not been defensively. He's been fielding the ball at a high level down in the minors. He just hadn't hit the ball. And so he's had a good spring. Right now, as we talk, he's hitting .333 as we stand today going into today's action. .333. So he's putting the bat on the ball, putting the ball in play. And the Braves, as you know, since John Schuerholz and Bobby Cox took over a couple of decades ago, they put a premium on playing defense. Braves, all that success, 14 consecutive division titles, all those postseason runs, you know, it was really predicated on great pitching and playing really solid, outstanding defense. And that belief, I believe, still continues with the Braves organization today, with Anthopoulos as the general manager and with a Bobby Cox disciple, Brian Snitker, as the manager. So right now, man, it sounds like Braden Shoemake has got a little bit of an edge on Vaughn Grissom coming into the final 2 weeks of spring training. He's 3 years older than Vaughn. So he's a little further down the road in his development. And it sounds like that's given him a little bit of of an edge. What's sort of funny is here at 680 The Fan, they've asked all of the on-air talent to help produce a ultimate baseball guide that we've come out with over the last 3-4 years, every year leading into the season, and write a piece that would appear in the ultimate baseball guide. And of course, the topic I chose this year was Vaughn Grissom winning the shortstop job. So I'm not sure what they're going to do about the magazine with me talking about Vaughn taking over for Dansby Swanson. Even if Shoemake leaves spring training with the opening day job at shortstop, it doesn't mean that Vaughn Grissom we won't see at shortstop during the course of the season. So maybe they will put that piece in the magazine after all. One of the other big conversation pieces the last 2 weeks of spring training is the fifth spot in the rotation. And there are a couple of young Braves prospects, young left-handers that have been really impressive during spring this year, too. It's taken an interesting turn. Michael Soroka has been slowed by this hamstring injury, and now Ian Anderson and Bryce Elder yesterday were sent down to the Triple-A, the minor league camp, Triple-A Gwinnett team camp that is going on right now. And look, you can read into this thing two ways. One is they have been beaten out for that fifth starter's job, or two, typically early in the season, there's so many off days with the major league schedule that teams will pass over the fifth spot in the rotation until 3-4 series into the season, when those off days sort of go away. And so that means that in that scenario, you could have Anderson or Elder recalled when they decide to go with the fifth starter and plug and play at that point in time. But the two young pitching prospects have been so impressive. They may have just earned that fifth starter's job in the rotation to start the season. You got left-hander Jared Schuster is the Braves' number one prospect looking at the minor league system, and he's been impressive this spring. He's had 2 starts and 3 appearances and has looked good in all 3 times out on the bump. His ERA in the spring is 1.04. So there's a chance he could have earned the job. You look at left-hander Dylan Dodd, who had to do a little studying up on over the last couple of days. He's emerged as a possibility, too. He's also had 3 appearances. He's started 1 game, came out of the bullpen in 2 others, and he's not allowed an earned run yet. So that's pretty impressive. Both these guys with a shot to make the opening day roster as the fifth starter in the rotation. I pulled up some video highlights of Dodd in the minor leagues and able to, observe that video and come up with a little scouting report. He's really advanced quickly through the Braves minor league system. And he's been able to do that because he's got an above-average fastball that sits 94, 95. He's able to command that fastball as a young pitcher, meaning he can locate the fastball in the different areas of the zone. If he wants to go up, he can locate the fastball up. If he wants to throw it outside, he can locate the fastball outside. So that has been really a weapon for him. He's also got an above-average changeup that really dives out of the strike zone, low down in the strike zone. So he's got 2 above-average pitches. Now, most major league experts would tell you to be a successful starter at the major league level, you need 3 quality pitches. And right now, Dylan Dodd is working on developing a slider as his 3rd pitch. But he's been really dominant so far this spring. He's also got a hitch in his delivery. Now, you're probably thinking, Baloo, what has that got to do with anything? Is that something that hurts him or helps him? Well, as a former professional outfielder and a guy that swung the bat at a lot of different levels, that hitch in the windup can throw off your timing, trying to time up these pitches. And, I think that maybe he's using that to his advantage. So keep an eye on that. Finally, you've got the outfield, the backup outfield spots with the Braves. They've got to make a decision on what they're going to do there. Veteran Kevin Pillar, last seen with the Mets 2 seasons ago, was really impressive. In fact, I was so impressed just watching him play all those games against the Braves. He's a veteran. He's a professional. He can put the ball in play. He's an excellent defender. The Braves, with Freeman and Swanson gone, now need some veteran leadership in that clubhouse, in my opinion. He would fill that role. He's gone out and had an impressive spring, and it sounds like Snit, just reading between the lines, Brian Snitker really appreciates and likes what he brings to the table. So look for Pillar to make this opening day roster. Sam Hilliard's another guy, 4 years with the Rockies organization, big left-handed hitter. Has got some pop, can hit it out of the park, and can play all 3 outfield positions. Right now you're wondering, hey, if Michael Harris II needs a day off, who's going to play center field? Well, I think Hilliard could fill that role as an excellent defender. He's played some center field at the major league level, so he could definitely fill that role. He's hitting .357 in spring training so far. The knock on him, he's just struck out too much, but looks like he's got a really good shot of making the opening day roster as a bench player, a role player, and an outfielder on this club. Eli White has gotten a lot of positive press this spring. He's another one in the mix for earning one of these opening day jobs. He's hit .435 going into the action today. .435. So, that's really impressive. It's put him in the mix. The negative on Eli White, he's got 2 options left. And then Jordan Luplow also has an option left. He's another outfielder trying to make the squad. Options left, that means if the Braves start them at Triple-A Gwinnett, that is hands-off with the other teams in Major League Baseball. If they sent down Pillar or Hilliard, they've got no options left, so another Major League team could swoop in and take them off the Braves roster. So with that in mind, it's an advantage for Pillar and Hilliard making this team. Not good news for Eli White and Luplow, who still have options left. If you're wondering about Marcell Ozuna is on the bubble too, as you know. Realistically, only as a DH. I guess in an emergency, they could put him out in left field. And the Braves are on the hook for some big-time money the last 2 years of the contract that he signed. So the word on the street is that they're going to give Ozuna a chance the first month of the season to see if he can swing the bat, hit with some power, hit with some pop, put the ball in play. But if he doesn't start fast to start the season, chances are Ozuna could be out of here pretty quick. So basically, these final 2 weeks of the season, there's some big decisions to be made. The 5th starter spot in the rotation, shortstop, and then the backup outfielders. Keep an eye on that these last 14, 15 games the Braves have. And this big news on the opening day roster is going to be coming down very, very soon. Look, the Braves are set. I mean, this opening day lineup with Olsen at first, Albies at second, whoever the shortstop might be, Austin Riley at third. You got Murphy and DeGrom behind the plate, Ozuna as the DH, Acuna out in right, Harrison center. Looks like a platoon out in left with Rosario probably getting a lot of the time. And then you look at the top of the rotation with Fried and Strider, Morton, and hopefully Wright is going to be ready to go. Every other spot, other than the ones we talked about today, the Braves are looking to be in great shape. In fact, they're the favorite to win the National League East and to take us on another postseason ride. So, reason to be excited about the opening of Major League Baseball here in Atlanta, as our Atlanta Braves look like a real contender in 2023. Can't wait to see it get started. How about you? That's going to do it for Extra Innings today. Hope you'll join me next time here on the 680 YouTube channel.